Sorry, your music is kind of described as electronic, but there's a hip hop sort of rap, but also a rock element to it. Is there a way that you tend to describe the music you make?
Wow, what a cool first question. I think of my music as like kind of existing in this experimental hip hop punk sort of subspace. But, in my mind, I'm just making what I want to make. I'm just making like the sounds and the things that come to me that I like. I'm just like reiterating that in my own form. So, as far as like putting a label on what it is, I'm kind of open to whatever other people want to call it. Cause I feel like at the end of the day, to me, I'm just like, I'm a goth girl, I'm a punk rocker, but I love hip hop. And so like, you know, I'm just doing what I love.
And that's exactly how you're authentic to who you are. You be the music, craft the music you want to make, and other people will find you.
Yeah,
Other
totally.
like-minded people will find you.
Yeah, and there's a lot of artists within that sort of space that I'm in. I'm very inspired by everyone but I chose to kind of go my own route with my music. Um, based more off of like my career as a visual artist. Like that's kind of the space that I started out in, and then I gravitated towards like writing music. So, you know, it's so cool like how all of these different cultures, especially in Los Angeles where I'm from, like how it all comes together, exist as like one community.
We talked about the music you make, but who are some of the artists that influenced you when you were growing up?
Growing up, I remember I wasn't allowed to have like music posters on my wall until a certain age, until I was like 12 or 13. But when I was like younger, I used to go over to my best friend's trailer at the trailer park, and she had Tupac and Eminem posters all over her walls. And she had Eminem CDs, which my parents wouldn't let me have. So like we got to like listen to that. I mean, we could listen to the edited version of it on the radio, but she had the unedited, not safe for children version at home. And we went over there and I just remember loving going over to her place because that
Freedom.
was the music that I was the most passionate about at that time. And then it kind of evolved for me whenever I like between the ages of like 11 and 13 was when I really started to like get into the alternative music. So I was listening to like Nine Inch Nails and The Cure and London After Midnight and Depeche Mode, AFI, stuff like that. And you know, I really loved that scene so much. I feel like the rock scene like ever since that time in my life has had a grip on me and more so towards like my aesthetic and the things that I choose to like outwardly present. But yeah, all through my teenage years, I was goth, had the shaved eyebrows with the long dark hair. And I was like, this is me, mom. Like, this is not a phase. Like, this is who I really am. And she's like, oh, you'll get over it. I'm like, no, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to get a bunch of tattoos. I'm going to be a freak. And she's like, you'll grow out of that. And I just didn't. And, and here I am. But there was like a time in my life, like in my early 20s, because I'm from East Tennessee. So I spent some time really getting into like my East Tennessee Appalachian roots and getting into folk music and like listening to that stuff and really taking it in and learning about it. And there's so much, it's like multicultural, multi-ethnic experience, like learning about folk music. But in my desire to like conform with that scene and with those people and with that music, I really feel like I lost a part of like my alternativeness. And it's so funny because I can honestly say what led me back to this was hip hop music. Crazy enough, because I got really into, I like had this secret love for the rapper Riff-Raff when I was in college. Like I was like listening to all this folk music and hanging out with like all these like folk people, but secretly at home I was putting on the Riff-Raff. And it just like I feel like it gave me the license to fucking kill because I was like, if this guy can be a rapper, anybody can be a rapper. I was like, he's doing it and he's like really fucking doing it. He's really good. It's like entertaining, even if like not everyone took it seriously at the time. I feel like, to me, I was just like, how could you not take this guy seriously? He's just like, he's so funny and he's so quick and he's so witty. And like all the things that I liked about listening to hip hop growing up and listening to Tupac and Eminem, it was like, Riff Raff kind of had like that in a silly way. So yeah, I hate to say it, but yeah, Riff Raff is what got me back into hip hop. And then the more I listened to hip hop, the more I realized like I actually like kind of like this more than I like the folk music. Like I'm really trying to conform to these people, and it's just like it's never been who I was. It's not really who I am. I still have like a I still have connections to the folk scene. Let me say that. I still love those people and I still like value that music. And I can even say like some of my early recordings like kind of have that vibe. Like not I wouldn't say folk, but maybe like more so in the rock folk, like rockabilly kind of spirit. But I got out of that and I moved out to LA and I was like getting into hip hop stuff and I was going to club nights and then like some random goth person ran into me and I was like, "Oh my God, you look so cool." Blah blah blah. I used to dress like that all the time. And they were like, "Why don't you come to the goth club?" And I was like, "Okay, that sounds cool." My hair was blonde at the time. I don't know. I think I just put on a black dress and like some black lipstick and I just went as I was. I did not realize the fashion that was happening in Los Angeles, California, in the goth scene. These people blew me away. And after like having I went to art school and I was in a band back then when I was in college and I was like doing the folk thing. So I had like this strong appreciation for art and for the form. But then it was like, as soon as I went to that club and I saw these people dancing and wearing the clothes that I wore when I was a teenager, something just clicked. And I was like, oh my God, this is who I am. Like, this actually is who I am, like forever and always. And it just like, it reignited this love in myself. Like, I can be the person that I really want to be. I don't have to like conform to other people's expectations in order to like have approval. And do I even need that approval to begin with? Is another thing. Like, do I even need that? But the goth community just kind of surrounded me and enveloped me and took me in. And thank God. Um, and in the midst of that is also like around the time where I started writing hip hop music. It's like I had been writing the folk music back in Tennessee, and then I moved out here, and then I was like kind of writing rock and roll songs at first, trying to be edgy. And then I was like, wait a second, I just really love to rap. That's like who I like. My personality has like this edge to it that I feel like it comes out through my lyrics.
That's sure. That's a wonderful way to summarize the incredible duality you have inside of you.
Thank you. It's a weird mashup, but it works, you know?
Yeah, you're doing something right.
It's
And I love your
all about authenticity, you know?
and I love your song Baby Boy. What inspired that?
Okay, so when I went into the studio to write that song, I was like really into I was at the time I was listening to a lot of like sorry, I let that truck pass by. I was listening to a lot of like early Sisters of Mercy, and they're so good. Like, Floodlands, I love that album. That album changed my life. I heard that album the first time when I was 13 years old, and it literally like it was like the way that my world and my mind expanded, like, after listening to that. I was never the same. But, I have like this deep love and appreciation for the Sisters of Mercies. And I hadn't really gotten into their early stuff too much. And I had a friend show me a couple of things. I started doing a lot of research, and I found this song. It's called Good Things. And the guitar riff on that is just like and it just like I don't know, it just like tickled this thing in my brain. I brought that song into the studio and I asked my producer, I was like, can you make a beat that kind of sounds like this song? And I work with this guy. His name is Young Skirt. He's a rapper as well. He's a hip hop artist in LA, and he's a producer. He's very, very talented. Um, I love him a lot. He's great to work with. I produce actually pretty much my entire first album is going to be produced by Young Skirt. But yeah, within like 30 to 40 minutes, he had come up with a beat that was basically the beat that's on Baby Boy. And then I took that song home and I wanted to like write some kind of cool lyrics to it. I couldn't like really land on anything for a while. But then I started thinking about like toxic relationships and how like you can be with a guy that's like super hot, but he just has like nothing really to offer besides.
Mm,
Have you ever seen the
the
movie
fire
Baby
on my mind.
Boy?
Yes.
So yeah, so you get it like in
Movies.
the sense of like there's some guys out there, it's like it's not like you're a total piece of shit. Like maybe you try, like maybe but you're just so immature, like you and it's like me, I'm such an independent woman, I've taken care of everything in my own life. Like being around guys like that is just so funny. It's like, oh, what do you have to offer me besides like an empire of fucking dirt? Which is like, takes from like the Nine Inch Nails lyrics. But I shout out like Trent Reznor in that song, and I also shout out Shania Twain, which is really funny because I was thinking about her song that don't impress me much. It's
Exactly.
talking
That's
about,
the
like
duality there. It's perfect.
yeah. So the whole song is kind of about that, about like being infatuated with a guy that's like full of eros and just like full of, lust and is very attractive and like you gel with him in that way, but like he really doesn't have anything else to offer.
And is there a typical songwriting process that you always have, or does it change every time you craft a song?
I've got like modalities that I get into. So like my current process, it's been different on different songs, but my current process is that like I'll go into the studio with Skirt and I'll either have an idea or I'll have loops or I'll have a full-fledged beat that I already like made myself because I produce too. Or I'll have like a riff or I'll go in there with some funny bars and be like, this is what I want to do. But he's the type of person, he's the type of like creative collaborator that you give him, like you plant the seed and he's just gonna explode with like ideas. And sometimes you gotta like rein him in a little bit, like, oh, I want to do more of that than that. But he's just, damn, it's hard to describe like what it's like working with Skirt. He's on a whole different level. He's like a musical genius. I love him. He like all of the little weird, silly ideas that I never thought would get the time of day. Like, I'm so fortunate because I can just go in there and be like, let's do something with this. Let's make this into something.
Is there a
So,
full album or EP then in the works for you?
yeah, yeah, we've got, like I said, I started out doing kind of like this rock and roll, rockabilly vibe because I was pulling a lot from those like folk songs from my band in college. Um, but as I've grown as an artist, I realized like I have this body of work now of like really cool hip hop songs. And I want to perform and I want to put myself out there. It's like a live performer as well, not just like a recording artist. So, yeah, like we've got a project in the works. Yeah.
Have you got any upcoming live performances in the near future?
So I'm working on it. I'm going to be opening for a group in Knoxville, Tennessee, coming up soon. I'll have more details in the future about that. But it's like they're like a local rap group that kind of go more on the punk side. So
Okay.
they've got like some punk elements and they usually they've got like a yearly gig down there at the punk rock flea market that they do. So it's a really cool group. But whenever I get more details on that, I can speak more on it. But other than that, no, like when I get back to Los Angeles, because right now I'm currently in Tennessee, but I'm coming back to Los Angeles in the fall time and I should have something lined up. But right now I'm just kind of focusing on getting my recordings together and putting a show together with what I got.
Okay. What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters then of the incredible music you make?
Well, first of all, thank you. That's it blows my mind that anybody at all, is like paying attention or wants to listen to the things that I make. It's very humbling and flattering and I just feel lucky every day that I get to wake up and do this. So shout out to you guys.